Within the dark realm domain, a profound silence prevailed. Countless spatial storms surged randomly, as if containing a deadly threat. Here, the battleground between Xiao Yin and the Holy Demon Lord was a place fraught with peril. A colossal shadow of the Azure Dragon coiled around Xiao Yin, while water-type tornadoes intensified around it. Beneath the dragon, Xiao Yan's gaze was focused and grim as he stared into the distance, toward the Holy Demon Lord, who was sheltered under the protection of the angel's shadow, transformed by divine power. Under the influence of the angel's shadow, Xiao Yan's top-tier water-based immortal techniques were severely disrupted, teetering on the brink of collapse. The interference emanating from the light sphere of the angel's shadow caused much of Xiao Yan's inner power to quieten, unable to form terrifying attacks. It seemed that only two forces within him were going wild. I have been lying low in the great thousand worlds for thousands of years. Do you really think I have come unprepared? Xiao Yin, I know you possess many sacred flames and the power of the four attributes, but in the face of angel's power, even someone as strong as you will only meet the fate of judgment. After all, angel's power is not something your sacred flames can resist. The Holy Demon Lord's face twisted into a dark smile, mocking relentlessly. According to his intelligence, the only power capable of contending with angel's power on Xiao Yin was the sacred flames. However, with the interference from the angel's shadow, even if Xiao Yin had 10 sacred flames, it would be difficult to make a significant impact. After all, he could only use them in their most primal form, a power far too weak for him. Such a Xiao Yin was hardly a threat. From the very beginning, this battle was destined to end in his defeat. He, along with Lu Hui, was once a powerful figure of the same era. Back then, they had attacked the Angel Kingdom together, and in the process, they had discovered numerous treasures from its affiliated Holy See. They had even obtained a force from a certain Son of Light, a power capable of reversing the world itself. The Angel Power Scroll, which recorded Angel's power, contained an extraordinarily pure form of it. It was created by the Son of Light and was even effective in combating his evil state. Unfortunately, the one he faced now was Xiao Yin. Humph! Xiao Yin sneered coldly. Gradually, his water-type powers receded back into his body. It seemed that he could only use sacred flames now. Purify for me. Suddenly, a sharp, ear-piercing sound cut through the silence. The pure white angel's shadow, under the control of the Holy Demon Lord, slowly spread its arms. A brilliant, pure white light orb flickered, resembling a sonic wave that disrupted Xiao Yan's gathering of power. It was unstoppable. This power truly possesses the ability to reverse the world. Now, the only powers in my body capable of resisting angel's power are demonic power and sacred flame. As for the demonic power, I can't use it unless absolutely necessary, or the Endless Flame Alliance and strong forces like the center of the human realm will find an excuse to wipe us out. In an instant, the interference sound waves surged outward. The massive azure dragon surrounding Xiao Yin let out a roar before vanishing, and various colored flames began to rise from before Xiao Yin. It seemed to be influenced by Angel's power, actively flowing out from within him to shield him. Sacred flame, huh? Looking at the rising sacred flames within Xiao Yin, the Holy Demon Lord's lips curled into an expression of wild joy. Xiao Yan's most powerful Do skill relied on the fusion of many sacred flames. But with the influence of Angel's power, he couldn't fuse them, rendering his strongest technique useless. Let me show you what true power is. Boom! In an instant, the Holy Demon Lord, wielding Angel's power, clashed with Xiao Yin in this dark realm. The terrifying energy fluctuations shook everything, while Xiao Yin found himself retreating steadily in the battle. At the base of the mountain of corpses, the demon sovereign, with his sinister face, kept watching a mass of black mist. Within it, the battle between Xiao Yin and the Holy Demon Lord raged on. On the other side, Suing was slowly approaching the peak of the mountain, though an eerie figure was stealthily following her in the shadows. Unfortunately, the demon sovereign's energy clone hadn't noticed. In the center of the demon realm, it was a vast, dark palace filled with countless depictions of demon gods and monsters. The mere act of gazing at them felt almost hypnotic. At the center of the palace, a gigantic black flame maw, resembling a hellish furnace, materialized. The maw contained an overwhelming, earth-shattering force. It even emitted a deadly threat. The entire palace was littered with corpses, with those thrown into the black flame furnace reduced to nothing but fragile bones, like dirt. Countless demonic energies swirled in the air, distorting the very fabric of space. Within the grand hall, several powerful beings were bound in place by pitch-black chains, unable to move. Among them were several elders from the center of the demon realm, their strength unmistakably reaching the 5th and even 6th reincarnation stage. Demon Sovereign, are you out of your mind? At this moment, beneath the black flame furnace in the grand hall, dozens of humans with darkened faces stood. Fear, as if instinctive, filled their expressions. The shackles on their bodies imprisoned their souls. Even beings as powerful as those at the 6th reincarnation stage could not escape. As they watched the demon sovereign, who seemed like a harbinger of death, continuously throw reincarnation stage experts into the black flame furnace, their fear was amplified to unimaginable levels. They had initially thought that by joining the demon sovereign and betraying the extraterritorial evil clan, they would gain great resources and support. But now, this madman seemed intent on erasing them all. Mad, perhaps, but you don't understand. In the Great Thousand Worlds, only a few can perform top-tier celestial arts independently. The emergence of the sacred flame and the divine artifacts of the 7 realms made it possible to practice top-tier celestial arts alone. However, semi-god techniques, or even higher-level powers, cannot be performed alone without immense strength. Just relying on personal power isn't enough. Today, you will be fortunate enough to become part of a semi-god technique. Shouldn't you be cheering and proud of this? Ha ha ha. The mad figure, with his dark face, looked especially chilling. You demon, you will face divine retribution sooner or later. With all vitality extinguished, the powerful beings in the hall could not help but curse him. Before divine retribution arrives, all of you will become ants in my hands. With a wave of the demon sovereign's hand, a terrifying gust of wind sent the bodies of the experts flying. No. One by one, they fell like ants, helpless and powerless. The sound of their screams and roars echoed through the hall as they were effortlessly thrown into the black flame furnace. The furnace roared and burned, and whether it was 5th or 6th reincarnation stage experts, they were instantly consumed. Within a few breaths, they turned to blood and merged into the flames. In an instant, countless powerful ancient forces, like new beings born from the fusion of fire and demonic aura, shook the demon realm's countless voids. If this semi-god technique were to fully unfold, it was likely that over a third of the demon realm's territory would be utterly annihilated. If it were truly a divine technique, the entire demon realm would vanish in an instant. Whether it was semi-god techniques, quasi-god techniques, or anything related to gods, it was as if they were imbued with an indescribable, terrifying power. Such power, was it something mere mortals could touch? A calamity was coming, and strange occurrences were happening everywhere. Report to Lord of the Nine Tails and Lord of the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf. All the evil spirits in the Netherworld realm have been completely eradicated by our joint army. Many powerful beings are now recovering in the palace mansion. The Netherworld realm has lost more than 30% of its experts, while our army has suffered less than 20% losses. However, in a dim meeting hall, many strong beings from the demon realm who had come to assist gathered, reporting their current situation. Is there anything else? Speak. The Black Fiend Dragon Wolf nodded in approval, but his gaze clearly sensed a hint of unease. There seems to be an eerie mark on the foreheads of those powerful beings. Take me to see it. They quickly arrived at the resting place of many powerful Netherworld realm beings. However, as they looked at the powerful beings who were drowsily lying down, an eerie demonic seal flickered on their foreheads, and the expressions of the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf and Qing Luan turned strange. It seemed to contain some strange power. Other places were also experiencing similar phenomena. Sister Kailin, what is this? After dealing with the half-demonic god from the Poison God Palace, Xun'er asked, looking at the weakened Poison God Palace experts gathered in the hall. It looks like some kind of demonic seal, but there's no trace of any power. Kai Lin and the others surrounded the Poison God Palace, trying to expel the demonic seals from their experts. But after a while, they had no solutions, as if this seal was impervious to the sacred flame's divine power, even connecting with their very souls. After some struggle, everyone had to give up the idea of expelling the seal. Let's go. We'll meet up with Xiao Yin at the Demon God Palace. I wonder how the battle in the Demon God Palace is going. With these words, some experts from the Boundless Fire domain remained to guard the area while Kai Lin and Xun'er moved swiftly, intending to head towards the horizon. Clang. The power of space unfolded, revealing a spatial passage connecting to Xiao Yan's location. However, there was no ripple, no sign of the passage opening. The entire dark world remained still, as if Kai Lin's spatial passage had no effect at all. What? The experts from the Boundless Fire domain looked at the strange scene, exchanging puzzled glances. In an instant, the still image began to twist, and a ghastly image of a molten furnace appeared in the sky. From within it, a jet-black energy surged forth, speeding towards the crowd. Get back! Kai Lin's brows furrowed, and an unusual sensation swept over her heart. The crowd surged, but despite the massive size of the group, several individuals were still pierced by the jet-black energy, blood splattering and screams filling the air. Within moments, the bodies of those pierced were reduced to pools of blood, and as the energy retreated back into the sky, it seemed to pass through this eerie image and flow into some kind of furnace. What on earth is happening? Looking at the terrifying scene, many figures felt a surge of unease. Center of the demon realm, the power of the demon sovereign. Even in the blink of an eye, some powerful figures who resided in the Poison God Palace immediately recognized the energy fluctuations. This situation, something feels off. Xun'er, can you contact other forces? Kai Lin's gaze turned cold, and behind her, the 10-colored serpent shadows slithered out, constantly resisting the terrifying energy surging from the sky. Even as she resisted, Kai Lin herself could feel an inexplicable pressure. It seemed that behind this energy, some earth-shattering attack was being prepared. I'll try. Xun'er gritted her teeth, closing her eyes. When the 5 forces were separated, each had left behind a soul signal for communication. No matter how far apart they were, a single thought could bridge the distance. I can't reach them. The soul signal seemed to be blocked by some force. It seems we are trapped in a sealed space. Xun'er shook her head, her beautiful eyes filled with confusion. What is going on? At that moment, although the forces of the Endless Flame Alliance were victorious in the battle across the 4 regions of the demon realm, they seemed to be isolated in their respective regions, unable to break through the strange space. A true apocalyptic hell was slowly closing in. Meanwhile, Suing, under the control of the demon sovereign's demon lute, felt her power growing ever stronger. Yet, despite having reached the edge of the summit of Demon Mountain, she could not enter. It seemed that within the strange clouds above the mountain, there was a repelling force that continuously resisted her entry. The demon sovereign's body, in the form of an energy avatar, became increasingly illusory, like a puppet, with only the demon lute in his hands radiating endless demonic light. At this moment, within the black light cluster before the demon sovereign, terrifying and earth-shattering waves of power surged out. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yin, is this all you can do? In the realm of darkness, the holy demon lord sneered, the angelic shadow behind him growing ever more radiant. In the battle, Xiao Yan's body was battered, bloodied, and covered in wounds. This guy. Xiao Yin wiped the crimson blood from his lips, and once again, the 7-colored sacred flame around him trembled. Left with no choice, he had to expend much of his energy to suppress the sacred flame. The 7 sacred flames had been devoured by him for years. They were the most holy and powerful flames in the world. With the power of these flames, Xiao Yin was capable of going toe-to-toe with the holy demon lord, who was protected by angelic power. But the light cluster in the angelic shadow's chest contained an extremely disruptive force. The mental, spiritual, and even dou skills within Xiao Yan's body were being interfered with, making them extremely difficult to use. Even the 7 sacred flames, which had already been tamed, became more violent and berserk under this strange interference, showing signs of backfiring against Xiao Yin. After several rounds of fighting, despite Xiao Yin using the sacred flame to attack, the angelic shadow perfectly shielded the attacks, while Xiao Yan's body became covered in wounds. I can't keep dragging this on. This battle is turning against me. Sacred flame, explode for me. Without further ado, Xiao Yan's arm shot out, urging the 7-colored sacred flame. With the different energies contained within, the flames exploded towards the holy demon lord's side. The holy and intense flames swept across the 9 heavens, effortlessly burning the entire realm of darkness, shaking the very space itself, as if it would collapse at any moment. Even without fusing the sacred flames, the sheer power of the 7 flames alone was terrifying. Sacred Flame Backlash. I can't even summon the Sacred Flame dou skill. How can you fight me now with just the power of the flames? Accept this final judgment. Angel, Sacred Judgment Blade. A booming voice shattered the entire realm of darkness, and the 2 figures were completely exposed atop the mountain of corpses. The gigantic angelic shadow began to grow faint, and a pure white light blade, over 100 feet long, appeared. It was as pure, dazzling, and striking as the first light of dawn. The pure white, flawless blade of light seemed as though it were the angel king passing judgment upon the world. Divine power surged like an unstoppable tide, leaving no room for resistance. Is this a dou skill led by angel power? Xiao Yin stood in midair, his pitch-black eyes gleaming with a trace of dark green energy, causing the angel power in the entire void to tremble with rare intensity. What is this power? At this moment, the holy demon lord seemed to notice something intriguing in Xiao Yan's gaze. No need. To eradicate such a treacherous foe, I don't need demonic power. The demon bloodline alone is enough to shield me from the interference of angel power. That is enough. At this moment, Xiao Yan's fury surged, his demonic bloodline flaring like a spark igniting fireworks, unleashing an endless wave of anger. Demonic power seemed tailor-made to counteract angel power. Not only could it ignore the interference from the angelic light, but even the angel power itself could no longer obstruct Xiao Yin. Since you think I can't gather the sacred flame dou skill, then let me use it to send you to hell. Flame come. 7 flames. The maddened heavenly sacred sound engulfed the entire demon sea and the base of the corpse demon mountain. Truly an absolute lunatic. Such power, even I didn't know of it. I miscalculated. The holy demon lord looked at Xiao Yin, who was beginning to fuse the sacred flame, and shook his head with slight regret. A beautiful scroll reappeared in his hand. The scroll was pure white, and on its back was an image of a beautiful woman with somewhat mysterious wings. Upon closer inspection, the woman had 8 wings. Boom! Using his demonic bloodline as the conduit, Xiao Yin activated the fusion of 7 sacred flames and the holy demon lord's sacred judgment blade, simultaneously unleashing them, causing the world to change color. The demon sea's void trembled suddenly, sending ripples capable of destroying everything. Expanding from the base of the corpse demon mountain, the entire world shook, creating a scene of immense destruction, terrifying to behold. Along with the tremor, the very base of the corpse demon mountain and the surrounding demon sea twisted violently, with pure white light threads and 7 colored flames seeping out, unleashing a full-force impact that washed over the entire world. Poof! A bottomless abyss appeared on the ground, and 2 deep chasms erupted suddenly from the explosion's center. This power. Within Xiao Yan's body, the demonic power hidden within his demon bloodline seemed to be provoked by the holy demon lord's angel power, slowly bursting forth with a terrifying aura. But just as it was about to explode, Xiao Yin suppressed it. The demonic power and the god-slaying ruler were his final trump cards. There were still many enemies of the Xiao clan hiding in the shadows. If he revealed all his power now, he might not only fail to save his people, but might also give those at the center of the human realm a reason to wipe them all out. But before him stood the holy demon lord, whose body was wrapped in pure white light threads. Even his 7 sacred flames fusion do skill could not harm him. That power seemed even stronger than angel power. For a moment, Xiao Yin had no choice but to be at a stalemate. Xiao Yin, your fusion do skill is indeed powerful, but I was already prepared. This is something that only the angel kingdom or the son of light in the great 1,000 worlds can wield. Angels sacred him. Do you understand? The pure white light threads, like the most pristine force in the world, were immune to any attack or interference, as though all forces trying to strike it would be effortlessly neutralized. At this moment, their battle seemed to have fallen into a deadlock. Xiao Yin, because of his concerns, couldn't fully unleash his power to annihilate the Holy Demon Lord. Meanwhile, the Holy Demon Lord, despite possessing the angels sacred him, had already dispelled all the evil powers within his body to wield angel power. For a time, the demon sea erupted with a massive offensive once more, but in this battle, Xiao Yin gradually fell into a disadvantage. Xiao Yin. Looking at the summit of the demon mountain, which seemed within reach but still unattainable, Su Shuiying's heart was in turmoil. The traces of the sacred flame's backlash grew fiercer, and she couldn't care less about the pain radiating from her body. As she gazed at the battle below in the demon sea and on the demon mountain, Su Shuiying's heart began to grow anxious. The holy demon lord possessed angel power, and with the legendary angels sacred him, perhaps the only way to subdue him now was with the demon sword. Looks like it's the only way. After another exchange, Xiao Yin finally stopped hesitating. The demonic aura within him slowly poured out like a fierce, monstrous beast. His skin, flesh, and even his pupils instantly filled with an extraordinarily eerie dark green. Xiao Yin, give me some time. At this moment, Su Shuiying's voice echoed in Xiao Yan's mind. She knew full well the concerns in his heart. But Xiao Yin hesitated. Trust me. Su Shuiying gritted her teeth and said resolutely. All right. Once he agreed, the demonic power slowly faded, yet the battle between them remained in a stalemate. At the peak of Demon Mountain, the strange cloud seemed to be protected by an ancient power. With Su Shuiying's current strength, she could not step into it. To truly enter the peak of Demon Mountain, specific conditions must be met. A scholarly figure appeared behind Su Shuiying, clearly having followed her for some time. Bamboo Forest Recluse? Su Shuiying furrowed her brows, surprised. The demon book led me here. This is its prophecy. Or perhaps it wants to see the new master of the demon sword. Bamboo Forest Recluse did not hide his intentions, directly explaining why he was there. What should we do? Su Shuiying quickly turned around, realizing that Bamboo Forest Recluse's words might indeed hold some truth. Are you sure you want to do this? Bamboo Forest Recluse squinted and smiled, as if the cost would be enormous. Let's do it. There's no time left. Su Shuiying nodded, as if making a major decision in an instant. Release all your demonic power, control it with Nethernight Demon Fire, and use your blood essence to refine it. The key to pulling the demon sword seems to be related to Nethernight Demon Fire and the first-generation demon god. Of course, this is just a prophecy from the demon book. If you fail, your fate will be irreversible. Bamboo Forest Recluse looked at Su Shuiying, seemingly waiting for her to make a move. The demon sword had not been drawn for countless years, but was the prophecy in the demon book true? Boom. Before Bamboo Forest Recluse could finish speaking, Su Shuiying raised her delicate hand, gently removing the headband. Her 3,000 strands of hair cascaded down like a waterfall, while the pitch-black sacred flame curse seal, like a ravenous demon, began to devour everything on her body. Bones, flesh, 2 sacred flames, and the many powers led by the 2 palace masters. Even her soul, blood essence, and power. Boom. Finally, a pitch-black dawn burst forth from the clouds at the peak, pulling Su Shuiying completely into it. Did it succeed? Bamboo Forest Recluse saw this and noticed the demon book floating around him, now bathed in an ominous, evil glow. He followed Suing into the darkness. At this moment, after countless years of silence, the peak of Demon Mountain had finally been entered by an unfamiliar presence. But would this lead to destruction or rebirth? Angels sacred hymn. It is said that only a few people in the entire Great Thousand Worlds have ever possessed it. The one on you seems to be of lower quality. It's probably a half-finished version. After a fierce exchange, both stood high in the demonic sea's sky. Xiao Yin keenly noticed something. Angels sacred hymn existed solely in the angel kingdom, and it was the personal blessing of the angel queen. Those who obtained the angel's sacred hymn would receive a power boost based on their attributes and strength. For a fire-attributed warrior, receiving the angel's sacred hymn would make even sacred flame unable to harm them. Their fire attribute would be blessed and enhanced, making their flame power surpass sacred flame. Only the top-tier sacred flames could barely challenge it. The angel's sacred hymn was one of the most powerful blessings in the Great Thousand Worlds, and its deeper mysteries were unknown to anyone. You're seeking death. Pure white strands of light poured from the scroll, enveloping the sacred demon lord's body, protecting him from all of Xiao Yin's terrifying attacks. However, upon hearing Xiao Yin reveal the secret, the sacred demon lord's face twisted into a snarl. Back then, he and Lu Hui had hunted down powerful beings from the angel kingdom, even obtaining the angel power scroll and a half-finished angel's sacred hymn from a past son of light. These two powers were exclusively owned by the sacred demon lord. With angel power, his combat strength rivaled that of a peak 7th reincarnation stage expert. After absorbing the angel's sacred hymn, he enhanced his angel power further, forming an angel shackles. The angel shackles were the pure white light strands released by the sacred demon lord's strange scroll. These holy and powerful forces could never be shattered by Xiao Yan's sacred flame. With the angel's sacred hymn, the sacred demon lord stood on nearly unbeatable ground, as almost all those skills in this world could not harm him. Boom! On top of the corpse demon mountain, amidst the clouds, Suing suppressed the numerous backlash forces within her body as she moved step by step towards the location of the demon sword. The world here presented a sickly shade of pitch black, and at the peak, wrapped in demonic clouds, stood a vast black altar. Countless sinister demonic energies spread outward around the altar, and a black stone statue stood proudly, seemingly enduring through countless cycles of reincarnation. On the altar, there was also a sword sacrifice platform, with a sword hilt that slightly protruded, appearing in midair. As her gaze locked onto the sword hilt, all the powers within Suing surged to a boil. Upon the sword sacrifice platform rested the most powerful artifact of the demon realm, and the statue below likely represented the first-generation demon god. However, Suing had no time to think about such things now. She had to pull the demon sword out to save the demon realm from the catastrophe, and more importantly, to help Xiao Yin utterly annihilate the sacred demon lord. She knew that once Xiao Yin used demonic power, it would not only affect him to a certain extent, but it would also shake the forces in the Great Thousand Worlds who were wavering and considering joining the Endless Flame Alliance. Even the center of the human realm would become a major hidden danger. What's going on? No signs of loosening? How is this possible? She easily arrived at the sword sacrifice platform, but with a wave of her hand, the demon sword, embedded with some strange demonic power, showed no signs of loosening. It seemed as if Suing could not move the sword hilt even with all her strength. The sword hilt was engraved with countless pitch-black runes, and the sword blade was embedded in the platform, exuding an endless pressure. Indeed, it's the demon sword. At this moment, a smile appeared on the face of the bamboo spirit hermit beside her. Clearly, everything happening now was almost identical to the prophecy in the demon book. Bamboo spirit hermit, what exactly is happening? Suing tried again, unleashing all her holy flame, demonic energy, and more, but she still couldn't move the sword hilt. In fact, her life force was rapidly draining away. According to the guidance of the demonic word's heavenly tome, there might be only one way, but the price is too great. It's definitely not something you can bear. Bamboo Spirit Hermit shook his head, watching as Su Shuiying's breath began to destabilize. What method? Su Shuiying showed no fear and directly asked. Right now, if you stop in time, you can still retain these powers. If you insist, though, I fear. Bamboo Spirit Hermit looked at Su Shuiying with a hint of regret in his eyes. Speak. Su Shuiying gently shook her head. Having come this far, there was no turning back. Draw the demonic energy into your body. The first-generation demon god's power is immense. The stone statue before you is his lingering aura. You can absorb it, and combined with the power of the Nethernight demon fire, try pulling the demon sword. Bamboo Spirit Hermit explained the prophecy from the demon book. Now, Xiao Yin was in grave danger, and if the sacred demon lord was not eradicated completely, the entire demon realm would fall into eternal damnation. Su Shuiying stepped directly up to the first-generation demon god statue. She activated the demonic energy within her body and began to slowly infiltrate the statue. Not long after, drops of crimson blood began to pour out from the statue, flowing unreservedly into Su Shuiying's delicate body. As those powers infused into her, her skin, flesh, and even soul power seemed to be invaded by a mysterious force, gradually attempting to control and occupy her body and mind. Think carefully before you act. Although you may be able to wield the demon sword in a short time, afterward, you will no longer be human. You might become the parasite of the first-generation demon god, or even be devoured by him. Seeing her body trembling, with the first-generation demon god's remaining power flooding into Su Shuiying, her aura and expression transformed, turning her into a ruthless demon lord. Bamboo Spirit Hermit spoke with a tinge of sorrow. No, I must protect those I hold dear. And I don't think this is wrong. Su Shuiying's eyes gradually filled with a tragic smile. She slowly raised her hand and grasped the demon sword's hilt. Behind her, a massive pitch-black demonic shadow appeared, exuding an overwhelming evil power. It was as if it had waded through countless cycles of reincarnation. The madness and revival of the aura slowly spread. Help me, pull the demon sword out. I must end this once and for all. Afterward, I leave everything to you. Su Shuiying gritted her teeth, softly muttering as if making some sort of pact with the demonic shadow behind her. Soon, the demonic shadow seemed to hear her call, and it took control, guiding Su Shuiying towards the sword hilt. A terrifying, boundless aura of madness slowly emanated. In an instant, a demonic roar that pierced through the heavens and earth erupted, as if a monstrous beast was sweeping across the world. Below, the energy avatar of the demon sovereign was instantly obliterated, and the demon lute trembled violently, as if it was being suppressed by some force. Within the entire corpse demon mountain, the heavenly and earthly energies began to scatter. A streak of bloody demonic aura started to descend from the endless demonic clouds at the peak of the mountain. What's that noise? Xiao Yin and the holy demon lord clashed and then retreated to opposite sides, both filled with shock as they slowly raised their heads. In the sky, an unparalleled demonic shadow, bathed in crimson demonic light, stood firm, exuding a power that even surpassed that of a typical six-fold reincarnation stage powerhouse. Through the dense demonic light, which was almost enough to engulf everything, one could faintly see the demonic shadow holding a short demonic sword, its surface covered in countless demonic runes that wriggled like black worms, flashing with eerie light. Moreover, a fierce, unprecedented aura of brutality burst forth from the sword. As the energy surged, the entire demon sea trembled in unison, seemingly terrified of this power. It was as if this force was the source of the demon sea's power, a transcendent force that was above all other demonic powers. Su Shuiying? At this moment, Xiao Yan's pupils contracted slightly. Despite the massive demonic shadow surrounding her, he still recognized her at first glance. Su Shuiying was surrounded by countless demonic lights, and those demonic auras had transformed her into a completely unfamiliar being. Moreover, the sword in her hand, that was the sacred demon sword from Corpse Demon Mountain. She had actually succeeded in pulling out the sacred demon sword, but her current condition seemed off. Something's wrong. This aura doesn't match. She's definitely not Suing. A trace of fear finally emerged in Xiao Yin's eyes. Looking at the supreme demonic shadow, his worry deepened. Staring at the figure, a demonic force hidden in his bloodline began to stir, as though sensing a familiar aura from the demonic sword itself. The power contained in the sword, or perhaps the aura of the demonic shadow, seemed to be eerily similar to the demonic power within Xiao Yan's own body. Didn't expect this guy actually succeeded in pulling out the demon sword. Demon loot, control? Watching this bizarre scene, the holy demon lord wasn't surprised at all. With a casual wave of his hand, he easily recalled the demon loot hovering below and attempted to control Suing with its strings. However, the power released from the demon loot was repelled by a massive force the moment it touched Suing, sending it flying away. From the high sky, a mocking, derisive voice echoed, as if laughing at the holy demon lord's audacity, mocking him for attempting to control her with the power of the demon loot. In the sky, Suing's beautiful eyes churned with demonic energy. She lightly raised the demonic sword in her hand and began muttering an ancient incantation. Dark demonic flames poured out from the sword, and an extraordinary demonic power that surpassed the heavens and earth slowly emerged. At this moment, the balance of the world shattered, and an indescribable evil aura surged into the sky, filling the entire world. Under this power, even Xiao Yin and the holy demon lord's strength seemed insignificant. Sacred demon sword. Heavenly separation. Open the demon star. In an instant, a chilling murderous intent flashed in Suing's cold eyes. Endless demonic flames and radiance surged from the sword, and a massive beam of demonic light, spanning the heavens and earth, shot out, slashing toward the holy demon lord's position. The world collapsed, and amidst the savage demonic light, a crimson sword aura, no longer than an inch, descended from the sky. Its weak glow seemed negligible. Yet it was this stark contrast that caused the entire sky to quake. Damn it! Angel's sacred hymn power. Protect? Angel power. At this moment, the holy demon lord's face changed drastically. Cold sweat broke out uncontrollably, and his mind and body were thrown into confusion as he scrambled to defend himself. For some reason, the once formidable angel power and Angel's sacred hymn now seemed to weaken as Suing's demonic sword swung down. It was as if her strike could completely erase him from existence. What's going on? The sacred demon sword's fluctuations? The many powerhouses of the Demon God Palace in the Demon Mountain Range felt the violent energy waves emanating from the dry well in front of them. A burning sensation filled their hearts, and they couldn't care less about the wounds covering their bodies as they rushed toward it. What's happening in the Divine Hall? Go! The outer formation had already been shattered, and the extraterritorial evil army had long been wiped out by the Fire Spirit Clan's strong members. Xiao Yi and the others sensed the immense disturbance emanating from the Divine Hall and immediately soared toward it without a second thought. The two attacks collided, and suddenly, a profound silence enveloped the world, as if all the power of the demon sword and Angel's power had been instantly sucked into an endless demon abyss deep within the demon sea. A pitch-black, endless vortex surged suddenly from the depths of the demon sea, blocking out the sky. In this world filled with shades of black and white, the sound of the vortex in the demon sea seemed to connect with an unknown death realm. Anyone pulled into it would likely face a true nightmare. At the same time, the first-generation demon god statue at the peak of the corpse demon mountain trembled abruptly, and with a soft puff, it crumbled into countless particles, flying toward the demon abyss vortex. Its power, and something else, seemed to be gradually awakening with the help of some force. Ha ha ha. The might of the demon sword is nothing more than this. The demon abyss vortex continued to expand, yet the strongest attacks of both sides seemed to slowly dissipate, and the demonic aura in the sky quickly faded. This time it is I. Poof 1. Before the mocking voice of the holy demon lord had fully faded, a crimson blood-red sword aura suddenly erupted from the rotating abyss. A complex and chilling blood-red demon rune flickered on it, like a chain of death emerging from the earth. His body was instantly pierced by the blood sword, and the powers of his soul, angel shackles, and more, became useless under the attack. His life force drained rapidly. Poof! Bright red blood uncontrollably sprayed from the holy demon lord's chest, staining the demon sea's void with an alluring, evil radiance. The holy demon lord abruptly looked up, gazing at the demonic shadow in the sky, his eyes filled with disbelief until his death. The demon sword was filled with a sinister power that transcended Angel's power. How is this possible? How could the demon sword's power ignore, even break, the Angel's sacred hymn? Even as the breath of death surged into his chest, the holy demon lord's eyes remained fixed on the strange demonic shadow in the sky. It was too strong. The power on the demon sword was far too powerful and bizarre. Even the Angel's power could not withstand it. Boom! Without warning, the blood-red sword aura, containing the holy might of the demon sword, instantly melted. Black flames, combined with the scarlet demonic aura, immediately devoured and purified the Angel's sacred hymn on the holy demon lord's body, accompanied by a deafening explosion that shook the heavens. The holy demon lord perished, his body and soul destroyed by a single blow from the demon sword. The holy demon lord was dead. Under Xia Yin's swing of the demon sword, the strike was fatal. Neither Angel's power nor the half-formed Angel's sacred hymn left any trace in the wake of the demon sword's might. There was some profound, mystical power on the demon sword, a power seemingly designed to specifically break the Angel's power, an unparalleled dark magic. In the demon realm, it was known as